Hi everybody! Today's vlog is about the Industrial Revolution and why and how it got so much bigger in Reconstruction than in the real world. Now that I've gotten the history of electricity and trains out of the way, I can tell you what those two things ended up actually powering. The Industrial Revolution technically started out in England in the 1700s and went on until the 1900s. As the British Empire expanded, the demand for British goods began to skyrocket, and soon the normal means of production, which was usually subsistence and handmade by, individuals, wasn't enough to deal with the massive demand. So, to put a twist on the old phrase, when the going gets tough, the tough start innovating. Everything really began in the textile industry. In 1764, the spinning engine, or jenny, was created, and it gave one person the capacity to spin multiple threads for cloth at the same time. Then the game changed again when Edmund Cartwright created the power loom, which completely mechanized the cloth weaving process, making the textile making process even more fast and efficient. Alongside these innovations came new and improved methods of creating cast iron and the first inexpensive process of making steel. All of these things coming together began a massive chain reaction that caused numerous factories and hundreds of new employment positions. The Industrial Revolution didn't actually reach the US until the early 1800s. It was very behind its mother country, mainly because the US was so much bigger and had such a small population relative to its size. However, in 1790, Samuel Slater put up the very first cotton spinning mill. Factories did not become large or numerous until the 1820s, when the Lowell mill town was opened in Massachusetts. It was the first real large-scale model factory town, and it employed mostly young women looking to gain independence from their farm families. However, most of the mill owners and businessmen were not terribly interested in ethics, so they frequently exploited their workers and preferred female labor over male because they didn't feel like they had to pay them as much. By the mid-1800s, most of the labor force consisted of women and young children. And by the 1880s, just about every other everyday object had been made in a factory. In the world of Reconstruction, the Industrial Revolution actually began at the end of the 1600s with the invention of the crank generator. The first factories began to appear in the US alongside the settlers in the 1700s. The unethical treatment of workers is still a very large problem in the world of Reconstruction, and many groups are trying to deal with it with little success. And that is the Industrial Revolution in a nutshell. This is really only scratching the surface. I mean, going into it in any more detail would take me hours. It permeates everything. I mean, literally everything. Feel free to leave a comment at the end of this installment, as well as on my blog, on my Twitter, or on my YouTube page. And don't forget to give this installment a plus vote. I greatly appreciate it. And the recommended song for this installment is On My Own by 3 Days Grace. It sums up Isaac and Cassie's reactions to each other pretty well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you enjoy the next installment.